today we're going to be working on our bonus block that comes with our Goose Track CD. And for your bonus block, you need two fabrics. You need a light green and you need a medium green. You also need two threads. You need a light green and a medium green. The first step you want to do when you're doing your 3D leaves is to hoop your lightweight cutaway stabilizer, and in the needle of the machine we're going to put our light green thread. Okay. So now that our hoop is on the machine, again with our lightweight cutaway stabilizer in the hoop, I'm going to take my light fabric, fabric number 1, and place it right side up right in the hoop. So here we are stitching step 2 of our 3D leaf, and it is just doing a little fill stitch over 1/2 of the leaf. And when it's complete, we're going to go ahead and change it to our medium match thread, which would be slightly darker, and it'll do the fill stitch on the other side. So here we have our machine stitching out step 3 with our thread LMM. It's basically our darker shade of green, and it's going to do our custom fill stitch on the right side of the leaf. Here we have our completed leaf stitched out on our first light green fabric, and now it is time to put the dark green over it, or the medium green I should say, and it will stitch out the seam around the leaf. Okay, so as you can see, we have one leaf stitched in our hoop, and I didn't do this for the video, but you can actually put as many in your hoop as possible. As you can see, I already have 4 stitched out, and it did fit in my embroidery hoop. To save some time, you can do 4 at a time. For your bonus leaf block, you will need to make 8 leaves total. So I've got 4 already done in one hoop, so now it's time to trim them. And I'm going to use my scissors and just cut them out. Roughly 1/4 inch away. This would be the other side where the stabilizer is. And you can trim them about 1/8 inch away from this stitching line. And then at the point, clip off the tip, and you can put just a few clips in the curved sides. So now this leaf is all cut out and ready to turn. So I'm going to turn it, and very carefully bring my point out with the tip of my scissors, being careful not to poke right through it. And then I will take it to my ironing board and press my leaves, and my leaves will be ready to go into my block. So here we are, we're going to be stitching today our bonus block with our 3D leaves, and the fabrics we will need are your fabric 1, and it will require a matching thread, so this is your thread 1 match. Fabric 2, it will also need your matching thread with a bobbin. Fabric 3, you'll need a contrast thread. I've chosen purple. You will also need a bobbin. And fabric 4, you will need a matching thread, so I'm going to use the purple in that place. And you will also need a contrast thread, and I've chosen yellow. So this is step 1 of our main border block, our bonus block, and it's going to stitch out the outline of the block onto our hoop stabilizer. Okay, for step 2, for our bonus block, we're going to put our vanish wash away thread in the needle of the machine. And the reason we do this is so that you don't have to pick out your basting stitches along the outside of your block later when you're finished. So I've got my machine ready and threaded up with the vanish wash away thread. And now I'm going to take my fabric 1, my square, and place it right directly into the corner. And we're going to stitch the corner down. So this is our step 2, stitch down fabric 1 into the corner with our wash away thread. And the reason we had you cut such a large square is because we're going to go ahead and cut this here, and the leftover piece will go onto your second block. So this leftover piece will go right onto your second block. For step 3, we're going to go ahead and put in our 2 match thread into the needle only, and it's going to stitch a small decorative stitch right onto your fabric 1. Now we're ready to do step 4, and again we're going to put wash away thread in our needle only. So I've already done that. Then we're going to take our fabric 2 and we're going to place it right side up in this section right here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I want to make sure that I have enough fabric up in the corner, enough fabric extending over my raw edge, and also that it has covered this area, which it has very nicely. And we'll stitch the tack down stitch for step number 4. Okay, so step 4 is totally stitched with our wash away thread, and now we're going to take our scissors and we're going to do some trimming. As you can see, hopefully, we have an outline here of where our leaves are going to be placed. So that's what that stitching is. This stitching butts up to the battleizer, so it only needs to be trimmed about a scant 1/4 inch from the edge. All outside stitching can be roughly a 1/2 inch from the edge. And this line right here, where fabric meets fabric, we're going to trim really, really close as if for applique. And now we are ready to do step 3. And in step 3, we're going to use the thread that matches our fabric 1 in the needle only. The next step is step 6 on our bonus block, and we're going to change our thread in the needle only to our thread 2 match, which is going to match the fabric 2. We're ready for step 7, where we're going to go ahead and place our 3D leaves onto our quilt block. So we will need to have our vanish wash away thread in the needle only. And I've taken a little spray adhesive and I've sprayed it onto the back of my 3D leaf. And I'm going to place it right over the stitched area on fabric 2. And then I will take it to the machine and stitch it down. I'm carefully going to hold my leaf down just a little bit, make sure I stay out of the way of the machine. And it is going to baste with the wash away thread the leaf into place. So continuing on, we're going to go on to step 8, and we need fabric 3 right side up in the hoop, and it's going to be placed over the upper left hand corner. I still have wash away thread in the needle, so I will place my fabric to make sure that it totally covers all of my outline stitching area, and let it baste my fabric down. So this is step 8, all stitched down with our wash away thread, and in the center of the block I'm going to trim a scant 1/4 inch. On the outside edge we'll trim about a 1/2 inch. And the next thread we will need for step 9 would be my contrasting thread, and I've chosen purple, and that's going to go in my needle only. So on our bonus block we're ready to do step 10. We will use the wash away thread in the needle only, and we will take our fabric 4 and place it right side up over the area where the battleizer is, making sure we have plenty of fabric to cover all of our raw edges, and we will stitch our tack down stitch. So here we have step 10 already stitched with our wash away thread, and it's time to trim the block. So again, just like on all the other blocks or all the other steps, we do a 1/2 inch on the outside edge. On the inside edge, we want to trim very close as if for applique. It's very helpful to have very sharp, pointy scissors like our HoopSisters scissors. So anywhere fabric meets fabric, it's very close as if for applique. The area where the leaves are, you have to be a little bit careful to not catch the leaf. So we're ready to do step 11 on our bonus block, and we need to put thread 4 match, which is my purple, in the needle only and stitch the stem stitch. Step 12 for my bonus block with the 3D leaves is to place thread 4C in the needle only, and it's going to stitch some decorative stitches. We're ready to do step 13 on our bonus block with 3D leaves, and I'm going to change my needle thread only to my thread leaf match medium, and it's going to stitch the tack down stitch in the center of the leaf, because right now it's just being held down by the water soluble, so this will stitch the leaves in place for step 13. Just completed the front of our bonus block with our 3D leaves, and it's time to do the back. So I have my square fabric for the back of my block, and I put a little spray adhesive on it. I'll turn it over and stick it to the back of my block. And in my needle, I'm going to go ahead and put my wash away thread. So it's stitching our step 15, and it's going to do a stem stitch, which is also going to quilt the block at the same time. We are to step 16 on our bonus block with 3D leaves, and we need to put our thread to match in the needle and the bobbin. So here we have a completed bonus block, and this block is going to have all inside edges, so every side of it would be trimmed with our trimmer by George. And the trimmer by George has a wonderful little lip on it, so it protects the edge of your fabric. So what we will do is pull back the top of the block, snug the trimmer by George up to the stitching line, lay it flat, give the battleizer just a little bit of a tug, and then we will trim off all the batting and all the backing. We're going to go ahead and do that on all 4 sides of our block. Here is our completed bonus block with all 4 sides trimmed with the trimmer by George. So as you can see, the only thing that's left is the top of the block, or the face of the block. So now I'm going to use a regular quilting ruler and place the 1/4 inch mark right at the basting line and trim off the face of my block 1/4 inch from the basting line on all 4 sides. Right now we're looking at 3 of 4 of our bonus blocks stitched up. I'm about to stitch the 4th, but you can see how it'll take a total of 4 blocks combined to make 1.